guys, I'll go through kind of the workout piece for our Wednesday workout for the strength class. For the first exercise in our strength component, we're going to be doing our pull-up negatives. So starting out with our chin above the bar, really trying to get that false grip, so you're really curling the wrists there. Starting with the chin above, elbows forward, and then you're really trying to slow down the movement. Aiming for about 1 to 4 seconds per rep there. Coming back up, and getting another rep. If you find that people are starting to go and they just drop down quickly, we'll take a rest there, stop, and then we'll shift over to the other movement just to be able to preserve the good technique there. And so for the other movement here.
Actually, I'm going to pause you for a quick second. So one thing I want to mention, guys, on that pull-up, so really trying to get that box high enough that you can start with your chin over the bar. So if, for example, Brett was shorter and he didn't get that chin over the bar, we would just bump that box up to 24, 30 inches. The other thing he did well is as he goes down, we want to make sure the arms are fully extended before his feet touch the ground. So we want to get full lockout before the feet touch. Sorry, go ahead.
And then for the other exercise, after you do your 1 to 4 reps on the pull-up negative, we'll be starting with our landmine Cossack squat. So we're going to be getting a low grip. Imagine you're just holding the landmine like you would like a golf club. So kind of one hand in front of the other. Nice wide stance, trying to have the toes pointed forward. And from here, I'm going to hinge my hips back. Really trying to keep my shin vertical as I pat that.
So by keeping his shin vertical, he's really loading the posterior chain, butt, and hamstring. Can you show us 1 or 2 where you bend the knee a lot more? So this is going to be a lot more quad dominant. It's not necessarily right or wrong, but we want to try and cue people to use more of the hinge pattern. So can you show us that hinge again? Especially if we're dealing with clients who have bad knees, this is really want to be emphasized.
So for our conditioning piece for the Wednesday workout, we have 3 exercises. We're going to be doing our hand release push-ups, our candlesticks, and then our biking. So for our hand release push-ups, we'll get down onto all fours here. I'm going to make sure that my hands are in line with my shoulders, so they're all stacked on top of each other. I'm not out like this, nice and stacked here. Bend, imagine I'm bending the bar so my elbows come in, and then from here, go down to my push-up, hands come up, hands go back to my chest, and then I'm pressing up. Down. The whole time I'm pinching my shoulder blades together.
Yeah, he's really trying to avoid in that bottom position, letting those shoulders drift forward. So he's trying to get lots of kind of retraction through that lower trap. Awesome.
So we're aiming for 5 to 15 reps there, aiming for good quality. So another thing I don't want to see is as we get the rep, we're trying not to peel ourselves up. We want to keep the body engaged like we're doing a plank, and then push up there, all in one motion there. We have a few other movements that we can, progressions for this. So wrap a mini band around our elbows here. Hands go in the same position as they did for the hand release push up there. And as we come down here,
oh, busted. So a couple things here. As coaches, I really recommend not only explaining this, but demoing this and maybe even having members try this variation if they find the hand release is too difficult. So a couple things, you'll notice that band is right above his elbow. And when he goes down, the band takes some of the weight off, but it also pulls his elbows in. Again, with the mini band, you can't do hand release push-ups, so it's just working on good push-up technique. If this variation is too difficult, then
we'll move over to a stall bar here, set a bar. I like to have it at hip height here. Have the bar set at back at the J hooks. I'm going to be starting out with my chest down on the bar, hands with a thumb width apart. I have the bar right about where the bra line would be. After that, we'll be pressing up to the start. Again, pinching my shoulder blades together. I'm going to be bending the bar here. as I come down and back up.
And again, as coaches, let's really try and find the push-up position that allows our client to do so with great technique. Oftentimes with push-ups, people kind of struggle with poor technique, and so let's really make sure we pair the individual with the option that works well for them. So this will be the most scaled back iteration. And then if somebody's looking for a more difficult version, if 15 hand release push-ups isn't challenging, we'll take a box, which we should already have out, and
from the pull-up negatives, we'll have a set of rings as well just in front of us here. And then what I'm trying to do is I want to get into a push-up position with my feet on the box and my hands on the rings here. As I get down, I'm keeping my shoulders back, and then I press up.
And if I'm really going to challenge Brett, when he goes to that lockout, trying to externally rotate at the top. So as he presses, trying to turn those rings like a gymnast. Very nice. So, lastly, you want to talk about the assault bike?
Well, we got the candlesticks first.
Oh yes, sorry, candlestick. Getting ahead of myself.
Coming over, candlesticks, so we'll set up just kind of in front of one of the posts here. Set up with a mat right by the post here. Head's gonna be on that mat. Another thing when I set up, the J hook here is gonna be about head height. So I want it head height, so it's gonna be away from my head there, or from my feet. Down into my position. I'm gonna grab onto the post. I'm gonna engage the core, so low back is against the ground. I'm gonna tuck my knees in, roll up, and then I'm shooting my legs up, reaching as high as I can. Again, turn around, roll back down. Legs go out, keeping tension.
So in terms of positioning, Brett could also take his head, put it right against the post, hence the yoga mat, and pull down. This is actually going to really transfer well to our toe to bar, because when he lifts the hips, that actually, you have to use your lats quite a bit for this. So it's a really good transfer exercise to the toe to bar. And we're actually gonna progress this. So in the next phase, we're gonna do something called the dragon flag. Do you know dragon flag?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not this phase, but just for everybody's reference, in a future phase, we're gonna go up. And then once we get there, we're gonna slowly descend out, but stay long. So something that we're gonna progress to in the future. And lastly, we got 1 minute on the bike. What do we need to focus on there?
So you're trying to hit keep a sustainable pace for the bike. So we want to use like the RPM that's going to be at the top of the Airdyne bikes there. It's going to be at the bottom right on the other assault bikes. Just trying to keep a consistent number there, so you don't want to burn out too quickly.
Yeah, so find that RPM that you think you can hold for 60 and bite down on something and go.